Krishna is going to save somebody from their dinosaur body, as it's described, a giant reptile the size of a mountain, as a great hill. So somehow some dinosaur inside this well, and we hear. And so we're on 10th canto, chapter 64, text number 22. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 64, text number 22. Etasmin nantare yamer duter nito yamakshayam yamena prishtas tatraham deva deva jagatpate. O Lord of Lords, O Master of the universe, the agents of Yamaraj, taking advantage of the opportunity thus created, later carried me to his abode. There Yamaraj himself questioned me. So this is after Maharaj Nigra, he had passed away, and now the Yamadutas have come for him, and they're taking him to the abode of Yama. Purport: according to the Acharyas, the king's performance of fruitive activities had previously been flawless, but now an inadvertent discrepancy has arisen. And so when the king died, the Yamadutas took him to the abode of Yamaraj called Samayamani. What is that called? Pluto, the plutonic region of Yamaraj. Now we're going to next verse. Purvam tvam ashubham bhunksha uto nipate shubham nantam dandasya dharmasya pashe lokasya bhashvataha. My dear king, do you wish to experience the results of your ashubham? We hear in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 1, Krishna says, Idam tu te gayatamam pravakshami anasuyave jnana sahitam yajgatva mokshashe ashubhat. That this devotional service, it relieves one from all ashubhat, inauspicious results. So do you want to experience your inauspicious results, your sins first, or those of your shubham, your pious results? Indeed, I see no end to your dutiful charity you performed, and to your consequent enjoyment in the radiant heavenly planets. Due to your dhanasya, your dharmasya, your charity and religious activities. Bhashvata, shining planets. Purvam deva shubham bhunja. Bhunja. This is this word. Sometimes we use something like this in English. Basically, it means to eat your karma. Bunjate means like you're gonna get your just results. You got to eat it. So deva ashubham, you're gonna eat your sinful reactions. You're gonna experience them. Purvam deva shubham bhunja iti praha pateti saha tad adraksham atmanam kritakalasam patan prabhu. I replied, my lord, let me suffer my sinful reactions. And Yamaraj said, then fall! And at once I fell. While falling, I saw myself becoming a lizard, O master. And as we read earlier in the book, it says, as big as a hill. So it sounds like a dinosaur. Brahmanyasya vadanyasya tavadasasya keshava smitir navyapi vidvashta bhavat sandarshanan artinaha. O Keshava, as your servant, I was devoted to the Brahmanas and generous to them. and I always hankered for your audience. Therefore, even till now, I've never forgotten my past life. Purport. Srila Jiva Goswami comments on this verse as follows. Since King Nriga openly declared that he had two outstanding qualities, namely devotion to the Brahmanas and generosity, it's clear that he possessed these qualities only partially, since someone who is truly pure would not boast about them. It is also clear that King Nriga considered such piety to be a separate goal, desirable for its own sake. Thus, he did not appreciate pure devotional service to Lord Krishna. Krishna had not been the only goal of Nriga's life, as he was for Ambarish Maharaj, even in the stage of regulative practice. Nor do we find that King Nriga overcame obstacles like those Ambarish did when Durvasa Muni became angry at him. Still, we conclude that since Nriga was able to see the Lord for some reason or another, he must have a good quality of sincerely desiring the Lord's association. Srila Prabhupada confirms the above analysis in Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Quote, on the whole, Nriga had not developed Krishna consciousness. The Krishna conscious person develops love of God, Krishna, not love for pious or impious activities. Therefore, he is not subject to the result of such action. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, a devotee, by the grace of the Lord, does not become subjected to the resultant reactions of fruitive activities. I think that's karmani nirdahati nija, something like that. I think that's the verse. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti offers the following commentary. Quote, when Nriga mentioned one who hankered to have your audience, he was referring to an incident when a certain great devotee King Nriga had once met. This devotee was very eager to acquire a temple for the most beautiful deity of Radha Mulidhar on First Avenue for the Supreme Lord. He also wanted copies of such scriptures as the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Being very generous, Nriga arranged for these things, and the devotees were so satisfied with the blessings, blessing the king. Quote, my dear king, may you have the audience of the Supreme Lord. And from that time, Nriga desired to see the Lord. I did add the Radha Mulidhar here, just to clarify. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Chalakaya Chakshurvitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantigam. Katanshana Smite Yasmin Dushkaram Shukaram Bhavet Vismite Viparitam Shat Shri Chaitanya Namamitam. So here we have Maharaj Nriga. He is our pious Hindu in the Bhagavatam. He is doing charity. He is doing service to the Brahmanas, but maybe not yet at the level of devotional service. He's called Karma Mishra Bhakti. Means he's practicing karma mixed with bhakti. Just a little bit of bhakti mixed in. Specifically, he's serving, and he's serving Brahmanas, and then by that service to the Brahmanas, by that habit, he does come into contact of serving the Vaishnavas. This is the benefit of piety, is that you become in contact with devotional devotees. This is a question that is brought up by Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur in his book Madhurya Kadambini, which is what's the translation? It's a shower of cloud bank of nectar. Cloud bank of nectar. And this is not just a little cloud bank. It's actually going to cause torrential rains that will flood the earth, and everyone will drown in the ecstasy of Krishna Bhakti. And even before the rains come, actually the cooling wind starts to come. So everything becomes very, very nice, and people become relieved from the Jeffrey got the quote. Yes, Tvendra Gopam, Tavendra Karmam, something like that. So the question is, how do people start their bhakti? How does it come? And so bhakti is described as savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshaje ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasili. It is causeless. It's not caused by anything. Actually, bhakti is like Krishna. Krishna is independent. He is what is that? Two words that are in the first verse of the first canto, first chapter, that distinguish the Lord from the living entities. That is abhigya. He's fully cognizant. I don't know how many of you who need to go to the bathroom soon, and he is fully independent. Svarat is, whereas the living entity is fully dependent, especially in his conditioned state. So Lord is independent, and he is fully conscious. But bhakti is also like the Lord. It is the bhakti is itself a personified energy of the Lord. It is this bhakti could not attract the Lord unless it actually was alive, full of life, and it could not even. How can it attract the living entity without this liveliness to it? So actually, bhakti itself, she is independent, and she is not forced by any type of material circumstance. So bhakti is said, it doesn't come from doing nice things. It doesn't come from doing bad things. It doesn't come from doing nice things. Where does it come from? How do you get the mercy of, is bhakti coming from God's kindness, or is it coming just by his accidental mercy, that it just kind of drops here, drops there, and someone's just sitting in the right time in the right place? It appears. And so this question is brought up. Yeah, here, let me get a little note here. So the word yadrichaya means, yadrichaya comes up many times in the Bhagavatam. It means somehow or other. And so what is this somehow or other? Awaking by some good fortune. And so the question was, what is this good fortune that bhakti comes from? And so one question was brought up: is it just is it good luck? And they say no. Is it pious activities? No. Then that would make devotional service subservient to pious activities. Is it random good fortune? That's not a very good, satisfying answer either. Is it the Lord's mercy? No, because then that would be some case of some favoritism. It's actually, devotional service does not come through the Lord's mercy. Otherwise, it would be some favoritism. Why is one person, one jiva, getting attracted to devotional service and the other is not? And so bhakti actually comes for those who have bhakti. And this is specifically described as the madhyama adhikaris, that they have this quality. They are merciful to the innocent. They're attached to the Lord. They're neglectful or avoid those who are antagonistic. And they serve and love those who are serving the Lord. And so through the madhyamadhikaris and devotees that are even uttamadhikaris, who are taking the role of madhyamadhikaris, they who have bhakti are distributing bhakti. And therefore bhakti is coming independently. And so we hear in this purport, how did the king wanted to do some service, and there was a devotee, a Vaishnava, who wanted to build a beautiful temple on First Avenue and First Street in Manhattan. And the king said, yes, I will be. And the devotee blessed him. What was the devotee's blessing? He said, may you have the audience of the Supreme Lord. And through that blessing, the inspiration of devotional service was arisen in his heart through the blessing of the devotee. So his little bit bhakti, his karma mishra bhakti, was inspired through that service to the devotee. We find that in this pastime, you basically have several kind of karma kandis or karma mishra bhaktis. Both the king and the brahmanas don't seem like so much devotees. The brahmanas are so harsh; they're ready to curse him. They don't manifest the fully manifest the sattvic qualities that brahmanas are. Tatikshvas krunika suhridam sardadehinam. That's supposed to be completely tolerant and merciful. And so this is why the Vaishnava is considered to be a step higher than the Brahmana, because the Vaishnava is getting the compassionate help of the Supreme Lord, and that help allows the devotee to purify his heart. So like, here's a nice quote, because we're talking about going to Yamaraj. What does Yama mean? Who can say what does the word Yama mean? Rules are restraint. And so, he's the main judge, the ruler, restrainer. So there's a verse in the Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 6, text 35, Yamadibi yoga pato kamalobha hato muhu mukunda sevaya yadvat tata madha na kshamati. By yama, by restraining the senses in mystic yoga, lust and material desires cannot be completely purified from the heart, as can be done by the service of Mukunda. So this is the effect of devotional service, is that you're getting the desires of the heart are so very, very strong. What is the only solution? The only solution is to become attracted to the attractor of Cupid. Otherwise, we will be attracted by the things of this world. The only solution is to have our heart be attracted by the sound of Murlidar's fruit. Otherwise, we will be attracted by all the sounds in this world, all the visions of this world, all the taste of this world, all the objects of touch of this world. Our minds will be pulled that way. And so we hear, Nriga, he was not yet pure, and because of that circumstance, he was not yet protected. This is the what is described is that because he was not taking shelter of the Lord, unlike Ambarish Maharaj, he found himself in a difficult situation, but he was protected. He had, was it 40 days of fasting, and it was time to break his fast, and decided that he would take water to maintain the sanctity of the ritual that he performed. But the Durvasa Muni, who, by the way, Durvas means, what does Durvas mean? Vasa means, what is vas? Dress, clothes. And Dur means bad. So it's a polite way of saying he's badly dressed, aka he's naked. Nagabhava, he's badly dressed. Durvas, as Acharya has explained. So he is very, very powerful. He could understand that Ambarish had broken his fast, and thus he, in a very antagonistic way, decided to create a demon that killed Ambarish, and then immediately Sudarshan Chakra was invoked, killed that monster, and started to chase Durvasa Muni. And the Lord ultimately said, the only shelter is if you bow and beg at the feet of Ambarish and ask his forgiveness. But we don't find that same circumstance with King Nriga. He was performing fruitive activities. He was performing just charity and religious activities. And in that situation, he was not protected. We find in Bhagavad Gita, is chapter 9, text number 29. Is it 20? 28, starts off 28. Samo aham sarva bhuteshu name dveshtinos tina priyaha. So in verses, you find that often what happens is the first part of the verse will explain something that is more well known, and then what follows the second part of the verse will be the revelation, the the greater secret that is something that is less known, that is not more confidential. Like, for example, you have the Paribhasa Sutra of the Bhagavatam, Ete Chamsa Sakala Pumsha. All these avatars come from the Pumshas, the Purushas, the Kshirodakshai Vishnu, Karnadakshai Vishnu, and Garbhodakshai Vishnu. All the avatars come from them. But then what follows is Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the supreme personality of God, and he is the source. Like we said before, if a bunch of caravan of limos arrive and someone says, oh, all these people are important, but that person is the president. So the more secret information, more confidential information is often really revealed in the second part. So samaham sarvabhuteshu, the Lord is sama, he's same. You get this word homo, like homogenized, means same, sama, same, sama. I am same to everyone. No one's my friend, no one's my enemy. And then we know this by reading the Upanishads. But then the second part is more confidential. Namedvishtinastinapya. Ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya. But those who render devotional service unto me, I am a friend in them, and they are a friend in me. And then Krishna begins to explain how much of a friend, how much he is taken by his devotee. So what is after that? Samaham sarvakeshana. I think that's Apichet Sudaracharo. Is that the next one? Apichet Sudaracharo. Bhajate. Let me check. Is that the next one? Text number.
Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya.
Is that the next verse, or is there one between? Apichet. I think that is the next. That should be the next verse. Maybe it's it's 29. I think we're reading 29, and then that's 30. Apichet Sudaracharo Bhajate Mam Ananya Bhak Sadar Eva Samantya Vya Samyak Vyavisito Hi Saha. So he says, even if my devotee is horribly behaved, not like Gauranga Leela. Is that your name, Gauranga Leela? She's well behaved. But he says, even if my devotee is badly behaved, is not just duracha, suduracha, very, very badly behaved. But he is in this mood that, oh Krishna, I fall into so many bad things due to the forces of my influences of my past lives and my past habits. And it's very difficult for me to give that up, but I will not give you up, no matter what. So this is the mood, the Vyavyastiti, that he's situated like this, that I will not give you up. Krishna says such a person is a sadhu. And Arjuna is hearing this. He says, how is this a sadhu? Sadhu is supposed to have all these qualities. He said it's like his contact with material nature is not to be considered so serious, just like the biting of a toothless snake, or just like someone who had a fever but had recently taken a powerful tonic or potion that will cure that fever. So although the symptoms still manifest within his body, those things will quickly go away. Krishna even says in the next verse, Shipram bhavatmi dharmatma. Shipram, very fast. Shipram bhavatmi dharmatma, swashantim nigachati, kunteya pratijanihi, name bhakta pranashati. And Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, Krishna raises his voice. He raises his voice in this verse. He says, quickly, my devotee, he becomes a dharmatma. He'll become a righteous person. What Arjuna says, what if he's like this to his last breath? He's just a rascal. But he says, if he is fixed in my devotional service, now I've heard from Madhavananda Prabhu that this is really referring to what is called Anutap and Niranutap. Anu means follow, tap means like heat, and Niranutap means without that heat. So one who does not, there's one who has regrets that maybe they're engaging in something impious, but there is this regret that follows. This is really addressing those devotional practitioners who are trying to practice devotional service nicely, but there's some, and due to some past inclinations, they find themselves falling and failing in certain ways. But there is a sense of not hypocrisy, actually just a regret that I wish I wasn't going this way, but this is I'm being stumbling in this ways. But it's not, this verse is not really addressing those who are near Anutap, who are very consciously performing horrible activities, and without regret, and still proudly placing themselves as I'm a great Vaishnava, but at the same time proudly engaging in sinful activities, and are very consciously actively engaging in those things. So he says, such a person you still consider a sadhu. It is like a mango on the tree. What is the mango on the tree when it's in the early stage? Hard and sour, but you leave it there, becomes soft and sweet. It just needs a little bit of time. And Krishna says not much time. He says shipram. And therefore, the second part of that verse, he says, Kunte pratijanihi, name bhakti pranashati, describes. He raises his voice. He tells Arjuna, boldly declare it. My devotee never perishes. Those who are engaged in, those who are trying to connect me with love, I will protect them. I will ensure their success there. And he says, actually, this is so important, Arjuna, that I won't declare it. I want you to declare it, because your word will be even stronger than mine. Because, sometimes in the Mahabharata, Krishna was a little kind of with his words. He was a little tricky, but he says, Arjuna, your word is like it's written in stone. So name bhakti pranashiti. And he says this bhakti has no shipram bhatmi dharmat masvashantim nigachiti kunte pratijanihi name bhakti pranashiti. Name bhakti pranashiti. Yepi shupapayona hashtriyo vaishasata sudras tepi mam param gatim. And it has no limits. He says, it doesn't matter if you're a child, if you're a man or woman, or employee or a leader. It doesn't matter. Whatever your situation, this bhakti is applicable for everyone. There's no limitation. What to speak of the great brahmanas and great kings. Kimparna brahmana punya bhakti rajasasta anityam ashokam lokam bhaktamam bhajashvamam. So understanding that this world is impermanent and full of misery, one takes shelter of the Lord. And then he finishes, man mad bhava mad bhakto. Always think of me. And actually, just like in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, where he gives different levels of application, always think of me, man mana. So you say, I can't always think of you, Krishna. Actually, you hear, like today is Sanat Goswami's disappearance day. Today is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's disappearance day. And devotees like, I think it was Krishna's Kaviraj, they would consider themselves, I say, I'm just a sinful rascal. And they're feeling this, especially because it's in relation to these other devotees. Because if you're only meditating on Krishna 23 hours and 58 minutes a day, and the 2 minutes your mind goes to something else, then you're a sinful rascal compared to like these great devotees like Sanat Goswami, and who are 10%, not even 1 millisecond off of Krishna from their mind. And so that's why it's important to serve the great devotees, because through that service we develop humility. We will actually understand, oh, my position of devotional service is very weak. My concentration, my affection is very minimal. And we'll see these devotees, so they're so great. And in their greatness, we will see how small we are. And so today's disappearance of Sanatana Goswami, we hear when he met Sri Chaitanya at the house of Tapan Mishra. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, there's a great, super exalted, Uttamadikari, Paramahamsa, great devotee outside. Please get him. So they went outside and they said, this guy looks like a hippie out here. There's a Muslim mendicant. And they came back and said, and he's not there. There's nobody there. They said, no, who's out there? He said, well, there's this guy. He's in tattered clothes and he's a Muslim guy. He said, that's him. That's him. And so he brought him in. Much to Sanat Goswami's dismay, Lord Chaitanya embraced him, and they shaved him up, gave him nice shave up. They said, you come to my house, we have to offer you. He said, and he didn't want. They were trying to offer him some clothes. He wouldn't take it. They offered him. He said, give me one dhoti with lots of holes in it. Give me one old dhoti, please. And so with the dhoti, he ripped it, made a kopin, made a little bottom cloth and a little cheddar. And he said, that was it. But he did notice, Lord Chaitanya at some point looked at his blanket. He had a very nice chadar that was given to him by his brother-in-law. Was it Shrikant or something like that? Yeah. And just with that glance of Lord Chaitanya, he left and he went to the ghat and he saw this old man washing this horribly old, worn out, full of holes chadar. And he bowed to the old man and said, please, I want to beg from you. Can you give me that? I'll give you this. And the old man said, are you trying to make fun of me? He said, no, please, I would really like that. And he exchanged it, and Lord Chaitanya came back. He came back to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya said, yes, he had 99% completely detached from everything. But you had that 1%, he was very happy with it. So when you're in the presence of exalted devotees and you serve them nicely, then the mind becomes more purified, and also one sees, okay, this person actually has great devotion, great steadiness, great conviction, great faith, and humility arises. So we see Nirga, he got benefited by his little bit of devotional service in association with great Vaishnavas. So we should be encouraged not to just do a little bit service to the Vaishnavas. We should want to do lots and lots of service to the Vaishnavas, so we can get that bhakti, which is within their hearts, can be blossomed within our own. And we serve not just physically, but we serve also by carrying out the desires of the Vaishnavas. We serve by carrying out the desires of our acharyas. And we have this great desire of Srila Prabhupada, which is coming from the desire of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gorkhadas Jor Das Babaji, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji, going back to Baladi Vijayabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, to all the way back to Lord Chaitanya, and that is the holy name of Krishna is being sung by every single person on this planet. And so if we can be instruments to that, then we are instruments to all of their desires, and we have an opportunity to get their blessings. So I'll stop here and see if there are some reflections, comments, or questions. Om Tat Sat. Thanks a lot. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah. My God. Extraordinary class. So wonderful. I mean, we can't hold a candle to it or improve upon it, but we will acknowledge some of the things, reflect back what you made, that first of all, the wonderful power, the kindness, the extraordinary generosity of Krishna. How wonderful is Krishna that he offers us access like that the benefit of devotional service to Krishna and the mercy of the Vaishnavas. I mean, what more can you say, right? Krishna is very wonderful. Devotional service is so effective, and even a little. And then one other point you made was like the extraordinary emphasis on total surrender, right? Total surrender. A little bit of surrender is wonderful and beneficial, but we have to be careful of what we're holding back, and really just give ourselves to Krishna. Say, Krishna, I'm yours. Whatever inadequacy or mistakes I make, me as I am, I give myself to you totally. And Madan Gopal made that wonderful point that even if once in our life, even casually say, Krishna, I'm yours, and Krishna will reciprocate by helping us come from wherever we are to the perfectional stage. So Krishna, we are yours. And thank you so much. It was just it's been, extraordinary class. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Guru Prabhupada.
Thank you. I see another hand up.
Apologize. Many people can hear you.
Can you hear
Many people.
I apologize for falling asleep. Did you see me falling asleep?
I think Goranga Leela has her hand up.
Can you do like different types of bhakti?
Absolutely.
Like through like making a drawing of Krishna like that? Is it okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, not only different types, but even different levels of. This was a point I didn't finish in the last verse of the 9th chapter. Krishna says, "Always think of me." And you're like, wait a minute, I'm always thinking of so many things. When's the subway? What am I going to eat today? So he says, always think of me. And we're like, okay, wait, I can't do that. Maybe I'm not there yet. And he says, Bhava Mad Bhakto, become my devotee. That means practice the principles of regulative devotional service, like chanting your rounds and reading and everything like that. And what if the devotee is like, oh, I can't do that? And then he says, well, then at least just worship me. Like, have an altar, offer some incense, be a karma mishra bhakta, just, like a little bit, have a little bit of worship in one's home. And you say, wait a minute, incense, that's like 10 cents, and I don't want to spend 10 cents on a piece of incense. And so Krishna says, well, then just mamnaskuru, offer your obeisances unto me. So he says, even the simplest act of offering your obeisances unto me, folding your hands, sometimes you come to the temple and people are the opposite of namaskar, they're like this. This is the opposite. This is what we want to do. Yeah. He says, even that, evasi yuktaivam atmanam matparayana. In this way, evasi, I think that verse actually is repeated twice in the Bhagavad Gita. Always think of me. Become my devotee. Always think of me. It's like gopis, always thinking of Krishna. Become my devotee. This is like you're practicing sadhana bhakti. Then offer your worship unto me. This is like karma mishra bhakti, where you're doing your own thing, but you have a little bit of worship of Krishna on the side. Maybe it's just a little side thing that you sometimes remember Krishna. Here's an example of karma mishra bhakti, is when you cook something and at the very end you think, oh, maybe this food should be offered to Krishna. Whereas bhakti would be, in the beginning, you think, I'm going to make something for Krishna. In the beginning, when you start cooking, you're starting off with a mood. I'm cooking for Krishna. Karma Mishra Bhakti is like, I'm cooking for something for myself. And at the very end, oh wait, I should offer this to Krishna. And then it's a kind of Krishna is an afterthought. And then he says, even mam naskuru, even just offering your obeisances unto me. Where's the Bhagavad Gita? Where is it? Bhagavad Gita, as it is, chapter 9, text number 34. I have to see because they both end differently. They start off the same. This verse is in the 18th chapter, but they end differently. Being absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. Engage your mind, always thinking me, become my devotee. Offer your obeisance unto me and worship me. Manmad bhava mad bhakto mam yaji mam naskuru. And being absorbed in me, you'll come to me. So you'll see, even the simple act of this in front of Krishna, he's going to pull you forward because it's done with some affection. So you're drawing Krishna, that's done with affection. Even gopis are drawing for Krishna. Like there's one gopi named Chitra. What does Chitra mean? Someone who draws. There was one of the Krishna's his daughter-in-law was, or not daughter-in-law, her friend was Chitralekha. Lekha means to write, and Chitra means drawing. She was the one that helped find was it Usha and Aniruddha? We found Aniruddha. They made the marriage connection between Krishna's grandson and Usha.
And I have another question.
All right, yeah.
What is humility?
What is humility? Like the definition, or more just like in depth? The word humility means to. We always hear this is the simple way they say it, is not to think less of yourself. Oh, I'm horrible. I stink. I'm bad. But to think of yourself less, that you're more absorbed in Krishna and you're not thinking yourself so wonderful and so great. I'm so wonderful. I'm oftentimes the way we live in this world is that it's like we are perceiving ourselves like we're in a movie and we're the most important person in the movie. And so humility is not like that, where we're not thinking ourselves the most important person in the movie of our life. There's a German saying, Dummheit und Stolz wachsen haben dem Seben Holz. Now, if anyone speaks German, please forgive my pronunciation, but it means pride and stupidity grow on the same tree. So if you see a tree that has lots of fruits, it becomes very humble. And then you see a tree that has no fruits, it stands up very tall and proud, but it has no fruits with it. So when we are humble, we can learn. We can hear from people. We can hear the Lord's instructions in our heart. We can hear the devotees' instructions. We can see the Lord's wisdom. But when we're not humble, nobody can teach us anything because we think we already know everything. You know? Like there is this little famous thing that they say, I should, something like when you're a teenager, you should while you know everything, you should because teenagers often think they know everything. And so that you should become a millionaire because now you know everything while you're a teenager. Wait. So there's often this pride. You're young, so you haven't hit you yet. But yeah, oftentimes teenagers feel like they know everything, and it's hard for them to learn. They have to learn hard ways. Any more reflections? Questions? Jeffrey Ackler?
Adikarta Prabhu wanted to speak. Adikarta Prabhu.
Oh, yes.
Clarify, Krishna.
No, I was
Just come a little closer.
Come closer so they can hear you.
I was just apologizing because I was falling asleep in your class.
Yeah.
Radical honor.
I have to sleep more nowadays. Sorry.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Can you hear me okay? Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah.
on that question about humility, I've heard before that there are two components of humility. One is, I have less than perfect, qualities. I'm fallen, I make mistakes. That's one aspect of it, is to acknowledge our own shortcomings. But the other aspect, and without the other aspect, it's not complete humility. The other aspect is to glorify Krishna. I'm very fallen, but Krishna's so kind that he's helping me to go forward in devotional service. And one old preacher, Baptist minister, he was saying one time, you may think humility is like if there was a piece of paper on the ground and you're trying to crawl under it. I'm so fallen, I'm so fallen, I'm so fallen, I'm so fallen. But he said, if you just take that piece of paper and lift it up over your head, you're also under the paper. But that lifting up over the head is like saying, but the Lord is so wonderful. So we don't want to just me, bad. But we have shortcomings, but Krishna is so wonderful. So those things go together, like you were saying. Oh, glories to Prabhupada. We have the conch shell is about to blow.
Srila Bhagavan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Welcome to the Afterglow. Thank you, Nityananda, Chandra, for the wonderful class, wonderful Q&A. Questions.
What's that shirt? What's that shirt you're wearing?
Terminator.
Sortion. He met the devotees in the early 80s. He met devotees.
Who? The Arnold
Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Cool.
Some nice stories of devotees. When he was a weightlifter in LA, and they're talking about vegetarianism and stuff.
Yeah, great. The Gauranga Prabhu was given class a long time ago, and he was describing our death as this robot that never sleeps. It's always there. If you see, it's always somewhere on the horizon following you. So we should be aware that our time here is limited and we should use it wisely. There's a question in the chat from Anandi. It's a heartfelt, burning question from Anandi. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, would you like to read the question and maybe share
Okay.
some thoughts? It's about someone who doesn't live in the area.
Oh, I wrote back. I thought it was a private question. So, hearing is a great way to get the influence of the Vaishnavas, and serving and supporting is a nice way to serve, like the king who donated to the devotee who was building a temple. So
read
here,
the question. Read Anandi's question also.
I just want to ask here. I just want to ask, what should one do if you live in an area where there are no Vaishnavas? How does one get the grace of the association of the Vaishnavas? And so, and when we read the books of Srila Prabhupada, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Baladev Vibhuti, we're getting their influence, their association. And then if we try to serve the desires of those devotees, then we can also get their blessings. We can, like this specific purport we read is a devotee wanted to build a temple, and it's also described that he wanted books for his temple, and he wanted to build a temple, and the king, he sponsored the temple and he sponsored the printing of the books, and because of that, he got blessed. May you get to see Krishna, and that inspired that juiced up to his devotional service. That's how he got blessed. So we want to this constant hearing, as we get reading and hearing, we get the Vaishnavas Association, and try to figure out how can I support, how can I be like the pujaris are dressing Krishna, and they oftentimes don't just dress like oh, I just want to make Krishna nice because it's between me and Krishna. I want someone who walks in this room to be completely inspired in devotional service just by seeing the beauty of Krishna in the temple room. So their mood is even mission driven. Like, I want to be a part of Lord Chaitanya's mission by this pujari worship. I want to inspire people in their beginning and their practice and their perfection of their devotional service.
Thank you. Was that satisfying, Anandi? Yeah, Anandi looks satisfied. Thank you.
Also, we're having association right now.
That's right.
This Bhagavatam class is like for association with devotees. So you can come every day to this class and get devotee association.
You can also mail Ananda Bihari cookies. You can mail him some cookies. There you go. Yeah.
Ananda Bihari does not need cookies. He has a wonderful baker, cooker for a wife who makes wonderful prasad. If you want to mail any or make any cookies, you send them to Bima in Munson, Massachusetts. Don't get any wise ideas. I did want to say that I listened to Prabhupada yesterday, and at one of those short nectar droplet, literally like maybe 3 or 4 minutes long excerpts from his speech and from a lecture. And Prabhupada said, if the soul expresses even the slightest of interest in Krishna, the slightest of interest, Krishna notices and says, "Oh, this one wants to know me." And then Krishna begins to take an active role. We're always thinking that it's something that we must do. And of course we do. We have to show up. But of course we show up because we're showing interest. But we always have to try to have faith and introspection and consciousness, clear our head, and then watch Krishna do his good works upon us. Watch him, put us in the association, or hear the questions we need to hear asked, like in Gauranga Lila there, asking the most pertinent questions, and then Nityananda Chandra answering them in German once again. Du sprechen
Dummheit und
schönes Deutschen. Ich bin ein Dummkopf. Ich bin ein Dummkopf.
I know what that
You
is.
got to know what that means.
Yeah, Dima,
Straight from the
I'm a
mouth of the
dumbhead.
horse.
speaks in humility.
Humiliation. With me, it's humiliation. I'm always humiliated beneath my 7-foot-tall horses. Hare Krishna, everybody's so wonderful. And Gauranga Lila said that the best when she said that association is also this class. And I scramble to make sure that I get to this class on time. And then if I ever miss it, or when it closes down, is actually a heartfelt response that now I'm on my own. I don't have the devotees around me. It's a palpable experience. So thank you very much for your association. Hare Krishna.
Oh,
Yeah, this class is like an AA meeting, at least for me. It's a wonderful way of associating with devotees intimately, with structure around Srimad Bhagavatam. It doesn't really get any better than that.
But
So,
me too.
you too?
Because I was looking
You
for,
go to AA,
like, I wanted to
Rangalila?
have some devotee association with somebody, like, with devotees, but I never got, but now I have it.
die.
Jai. Wow. What a powerful revelation and confession, Gauranga. Thank you. It's nice to have you in our association. You were a kid, but you seem to know the core of the philosophy of the teachings that Krishna gave us. No? You see, that's humility. A devotee never takes credit for anything. All credit goes to Krishna and the Guru, right? Yes, see? Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, a question. You described so wonderfully how bhakti is coming from someone who has bhakti, from a pure devotee. And so the question is, as devotees, we interact with other devotees, and sometimes there's friction there. And how do I know if what I'm getting from this other devotee is Krishna's mercy, or maybe they're mistreating me? How do I know the difference? I know, it's a stupid question, but
No, it's a very good question. I told you this before, that one time my spiritual master Paladananda Swami asked Prabhupada, how do I know when you're not here, how do I know I'm doing the right thing? And Prabhupada, he said his relationship with Prabhupada was Prabhupada always gave him sarcastic responses. Did
he say that requires intelligence?
No, he said, try, but you'll do the wrong thing.
Try,
but you'll do the wrong thing.
You'll do the wrong.
But I think later on what he got from Prabhupada is that there's not really a substitution for other than becoming more and more advanced and mature. There's not necessarily a formula other than becoming more deeply Krishna conscious that we may in a more neophyte stage not understand boundaries of abusive or kind of toxic interactions. We might not be able to see that. Okay, maybe this are maybe overly codependent. Having some devotee decide everything for you. What to dear senior devotee, what toothpaste should I use? Or just like not really being able to make decisions for oneself. So you could become codependent or toxic or maybe even abusive. And so, of course, we have the checks and balances, our Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra, but and also the super soul within the heart. But one has to, other than becoming more advanced, it's as we grow, then we'll be making better decisions in these circumstances.
Thank you. That's what
Hopefully
I like
that
about
does.
Krishna consciousness. There's no cheat sheet. There's no substitute for growing, and growing is available to all of us. We all can grow despite our circumstances. Adi Purusha Prabhu.
It's an interesting concern, very important, but your concern shows that you want to please Krishna. And so Prabhupada said, even if devotees are disagreeing, if they're disagreeing about how to serve Krishna, that disagreement is devotional service. So it's pleasing Krishna even by, wait a minute, I think this was a better way to serve Krishna. Even the left wing and the right wing gopis are arguing about how to serve Krishna, but it's a transcendental disagreement. It's not, I like this, I want to do that. I don't want this, I like that. It's like, well, I think Krishna would like this. No, I think Krishna would like that. But that's beautiful and pleasing to Krishna. Why not? It is devotional service.
I like the one in San Diego where the devotees were debating. So they burnt the rice. And they're like, well, does Krishna, taste the rice, or does he glance on the rice? Does he actually taste it, or does he just glance on the rice? And so those who said he just glances on the rice, they won the debate. And so they put the pot, they didn't make a plate. They just put the pot on the altar and like closed the curtain. And then in just a few moments, they heard this huge crash, and it looked like, Subhadra or somebody just took that pot and kicked it off the altar. Because it's burnt rice. It looks nice, but it doesn't taste nice. And they're like, oh, I guess he does taste it. A little debate there.
Krishna is real. Krishna.
Another important thing to always remember.
You sound intoxicated. You sound intoxicated. Come closer to the router.
That's because. How about now?
Better.
Better.
Sober.
Better. Yes. Now.
Yeah.
First of all, I am intoxicated, so let's just get that off the board. The one thing that we always have to have in this is knowledge of two things. One, there'll always be disagreements because Krishna loves variety. What is it? Variety is the spice of life. Krishna doesn't stop at 10,108 or 16,108 gopis. Krishna has innumerable maidservants. And they're all different. Each one is different. And sometimes they fight amongst themselves, and Krishna actually takes pleasure in that. I know, I was there. I was watching a fight between two gopis. No, anyways, the thing is that we have to have a sense of humor. We have to have a sense of humor. If we take our service seriously but lightly, meaning that I have this way I'm seeing things, and then Krishna is always testing. And I'll just give an example. At the Boston Temple, there was this Mataji who was kind of responsible for all the garland making, and she was so serious and so committed to her service that when the other devotees would not show up, she would have to do their garlands, sometimes 20 in one night. She'd be there at 2:00 in the morning, still doing garlands to make sure that the deities that Radha Gopi Vallabha had and Balaram, Jagannath, Balaram, and Subhadra, and each one of the acharyas had garlands. She did them all at all times. And then one time, they put in a new temple president, and the temple president says, I want you to do a different service. and she practically had a nervous breakdown. She came to me, I don't know why to me, just because I was an older devotee. And she says, I don't know what's going on. I don't like this new temple president. He's taking me away from the only thing. And basically, it was her understanding, coming to that understanding, even though she had done such a wonderful job in her service, that Krishna was testing her. Would she be committed doing something else? Would she just serve for the sake of serving? Or was she attached to her particular service? There was nothing wrong in what she was doing. She was glorious in what she was doing. She was actually humble as well, never bragged about it, but she was very much attached to doing one thing. And so one would think that she would have every right in the world to lament and to feel that this new temple president didn't understand, and that was offending her, and etc. But by explaining to her that we don't grow unless we come up against adversity. Radhanath Swami is always saying, when you're a weightlifter, there's a thing called progressive resistance, meaning you can't keep lifting the same weight because you'll cease to grow. You'll literally cease to grow. If you're lifting 100 pounds over your head repeatedly, at first you'll get stronger and stronger, but after a while your body will just say, I'm there, I'm not growing. And so you have to add more weight. And so these tests that come to us in the guise of devotees having a different variety of opinion about how something should be done is an added weight that will sort of press on our false ego until we let go. And when we let go and realize that if we're just committed to the service, not how to do the service, but if we're committed to serving and cooperation, as Prabhupada said, if you'll love me, you'll learn to cooperate. So that cooperation is actually on a higher level than doing things right or doing things the way that you want to do them. I was always confused, and I'll end it here. I was always confused by that. It's better to do your job imperfectly than another's perfectly. And I always wondered what that meant. But what that does is that requires an amount of humility, that you're given something to do, and it's your job to do it, not to look elsewhere to see where you can shine more so. So anyways, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. Yeah, there's no substitute to humility, maturity, cooperation for the sake of pleasing Srila Prabhupada. Thank you. Okay. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu, any final instructions for us?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful
Can't
instructions.
rest.
Taken it. Shen Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nityananda Chandra Prabhu. Okay. It was very nice spending the time with you all, dear devotees. Thank you for being there for us every day. Wishing you a wonderful Friday. Give it to Krishna. Chant, dance, feast. And come again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Take care. Haribol.